I've got a page too. Olimov. He is a pastor. A church of that large has a lot of pastors. How many know that's true? And Pastor Olimov is the pastor in charge of Bible colleges, outreaches, evangelism, church planting. And their one church is now, well, I don't know how many it says there, but we say conservatively 100. That's not transfer-ins. That's new churches. And if it is just expected that if you start a church by 5 years, you should have, my goodness, at least 5 new churches. And if not, they want to know what's wrong with you. He's in charge of all of that. And as far as I know, him and his wife receive a salary much less than $100 a month. But I don't feel called to support him. And then Alexander, who I met in Moscow, he pastors a church right out by the airport. He is the bishop for the whole Kiev region. He's only 39 years old. In the old system, you couldn't be a bishop, hardly a pastor at 39, because they all fled to the West. And that's a whole different story. And all they were left with was kids. And so in 1992, the average pastor, it seemed like over a period of 3 years, went from 50 to 60 to 70 to 19 to 30. 30 was high, 19 to 26 or something. How many think that's a good thing? It was the best thing that could have ever happened. They took them and their legalistic friends with them, and they all moved to the West. And all that was left was the kids, and all they knew about was how to get saved and about Jesus. And nobody ever told them all the laws of the Medes and Persians of what you're supposed to teach about legalism. And so they just preached what they had experienced. And all they'd experienced was how to get saved. And so they preached that. And many of them came to me and said, don't tell anybody, but I got a church of 400. I haven't got a Bible. Can you give me one?
Wow.
Well, I said, well, what do you preach? Well, about how to get saved. I said, well, you need to move on a little bit from that because, pretty soon they're all going to be saved and they're going to want to know what's next. I'm not joking. Pure of heart people. And he was one of them. And the next fellow, Vasily, 44, he's an old man. Came to Christ in 91. Went to Bible college, started a church, now has 100 members. Another guy, Pastor Alex, wouldn't you just love to hug that guy? He just got such a thing about him. He's 45. Used to be my age, 45. It's not now. I was talking to someone the other day and I said, he's about our age. And he said, no, he's like 15 years younger than us. I said, can't be. Well, I'm still filled with the Holy Ghost, so I don't care. If they got to wheel me out here with an IV, I'll still preach. And I want you to know, that happened, almost. I was preaching a church, and this is no glory to me. This is just the Holy Ghost inside of me. I was preaching a service on Monday night, and things started to spin, and things started to go dark, so I laid down and kept preaching. And the interpreter had always been trained to do what the preacher does. And so he didn't know what to do. So he decided he wouldn't so he didn't lay down, and then, but he wasn't sure. And then I pretty much passed out. And the last words I can remember saying is, there was a friend there. I said, Ed, you come and finish this. And he said to me later, finish what? You were so out of it, I don't think you knew what you were saying. I said, but they were all saying amen. I think they all felt sorry for you. And he said, when I saw you being carried out, I was positive I'd never see you again. And they got me into a van and they said, we've got to take you to hospital. I said, a Ukrainian hospital? They said, that's all, the only type we have. I said, no, take me home. My wife is a nurse. She knows more than all of them. And I spent just about the most horrible night of my life and the next day. And eventually I ended up in ICU with about a 2% chance of living. God pulled me through. And you know, I don't want to be sick, but it helped me to understand. And I'm going to stop it. There's a whole bunch more that we have prepared, which we'll share with you in another day. These and about 250 more or 200 more are coming to a conference that we're putting on in Kiev in May 19th to the 21st, Heather? We write that down, May 19th to the 21st. I'm not asking you to come. You're welcome. But I would like you to see how fast you forget me. I'd like you to pray for those days. Matter of fact, I'd like you to pray for me every day. There is a nation that needs Christ. And there is a catastrophe that has just been put upon believers in Ukraine, so diabolical that all I can say is the widows and the poorest people are being swindled out of hundreds of millions of dollars by ministries, by pastors. And I won't say who, I won't say where, but all I'll tell you is there is a weeping going on for these folks. We found out about it because people started coming to the church I was attending and saying, I've lost my house, I lost my apartment, I'm sleeping in a cardboard box, and on and on and on. And nothing has ever happened. It brought all of the evangelical denominations together, which I would have laid money. I'm not a gambler. Had I been one, I would have laid money, would never have happened. Everybody from the Baptist to the crawl-wall charismatics got together. Because guess what? The press got a hold of it. And now all through the Ukraine, they're saying, we always suspected there's something wrong with these evangelicals, these charismatics, these Pentecostals. All they do is steal your money. And of course, the folk that fell into this, most of them didn't even know what a bank was, hardly. When I first went there and I said the word bank, the translator stopped me and said, they don't know what that word means, pick another word. I said, what other word can I pick for bank? I said, financial institution. She said, no, they don't know what that means.